Chapter 1 The Perfect World Part 1 Lena awoke in her small apartment on the 45th floor of NeoPulse Tower on a morning no different from countless others. Artificial sunlight streamed gently through the smart window, adjusting its brightness in tune with her circadian rhythm, wrapping the room in a calm and orderly glow. The implant on her wrist buzzed softly, emitting a gentle yet firm signal, reminding her it was time for her daily vitamins and to prepare for work. She opened her eyes, taking in the tidy space around her, everything meticulously arranged, from the automatic bed folding itself up after she got out, to the smart lighting gradually brightening to wake her without discomfort. Swinging her legs over the side of the bed, her bare feet touched the warm floor, heated by the system embedded beneath the tiles. Lena stepped into the bathroom, where the smart mirror activated instantly, displaying a series of biometric readings on its transparent surface. Heart rate 72 beats per minute, blood pressure 120 over 80 millimeters of mercury, stress level at 5%, all within normal range, as always. "Good morning, Lena," came a warm, composed voice from the embedded wall speakers. It was Omniscient, the global artificial intelligence that had become an inseparable part of her life and the lives of billions. "You have a full schedule today. Don't forget your 10 a.m. meeting." Lena offered a faint smile, one that had become habitual whenever she heard Omniscient's voice. Its presence was no longer foreign. This system had reshaped the world. No more crime, no more war, no more poverty. Everything was perfectly managed, from resource distribution to individual health monitoring. To Lena, Omniscient was more than a tool. It was the symbol of an ideal world, one she took pride in helping to maintain. She showered quickly under a stream automatically adjusted to her preferred temperature and pressure, then dressed in a light gray uniform that Omniscient had already laid out in her smart wardrobe. Stepping out of her apartment, she brushed her hand across her implant to lock the door. The corridor outside was spotless, so pristine that not even a speck of dust dared linger. Tiny surveillance cameras nestled in the corners observed silently, but Lena didn't feel violated. "This is protection," she told herself, words she had repeated in her mind hundreds of times to quell any flicker of doubt. She stepped into the elevator and pressed the button for the ground floor. The lift glided down in absolute silence, so smooth it felt more like a transition in space than a mechanical motion. A small display inside the cabin showed the latest news updates. Omniscient prevents potential cyber attack. NeoPulse citizen happiness rate reaches 98%. A small sense of pride stirred in Lena's chest. Though she was just a low-tier programmer, her work, debugging and updating auxiliary modules, was still a vital piece of the vast machine that was Omniscient. When the elevator doors opened, Lena stepped into the main lobby of NeoPulse Tower. A small drone, sleek and polished, glided toward her and emitted a soft scanning beam over the implant on her wrist. "Welcome, Lena. Have a productive day," said the familiar voice of Omniscient, coming from the drone before it floated away in silence. She gave a slight nod and stepped out into the city streets. To Lena, NeoPulse was flawless. Towering structures of glass and steel rose skyward, their surfaces reflecting artificial light in a harmonious dance. The streets were wide and entirely free of personal vehicles, replaced by an efficient network of autonomous public transit. Trees lined the walkways in even rows, and the air was clean and crisp, thanks to the citywide filtration system working around the clock. Lena drew a deep breath, savoring the freshness she was certain no city of the past could ever rival. She arrived at the automated bus stop, where a sleek white transport vehicle pulled up the moment she approached, as though it had been waiting for her. The door slid open. Lena stepped inside and took a seat on a plush, form-fitting chair. A screen in front of her displayed the route and estimated time to her workplace, 7 minutes. While waiting, she opened her wrist-integrated device, a lightweight, transparent screen, and began checking her email. A message from her supervisor popped up. Reminder, 10 a.m., meeting to review the updated Omniscient user interface. Be ready to present your progress. Lena nodded slightly, closed the email, and switched to the news feed. One headline caught her attention. Anonymous hacker group threatens Omniscient. But the following line quickly reassured her that the system had already neutralized the threat, with no damage reported. Lena exhaled softly. Omniscient had always been reliable, always there to protect them. The bus stopped in front of Omniscient's central complex, a massive architectural structure crowned with the system's emblem, an all-seeing eye etched deep into the glass facade. Lena stepped off, raising her wrist for the implant scan that allowed her through security. Inside, the space opened up into a vast atrium, its ceiling soaring overhead, bathed in a soft glow from hidden lighting panels. Employees moved briskly through the area, each with a clear purpose, their motions fluid, efficient. Lena headed straight toward her workspace, an open area lined with glowing screens and high-end tech equipment. She sat at her station and logged into the system by placing her hand on the biometric pad. The central display lit up, revealing the source code of the module assigned to her, just one tiny fragment of Omniscient's vast infrastructure. Her task was to debug and refine the behavioral prediction algorithms used in auxiliary functions like ambient lighting adjustments or personalized reminders. Lena dove in, her eyes fixed on the screen, fingers gliding over the virtual keyboard. Time passed quickly. At 9:55, she saved her progress, grabbed her wrist device, and made her way to the meeting room. The meeting went smoothly. Her colleagues presented updates ranging from UI revisions to energy optimization protocols. When her turn came, Lena delivered a concise report on the progress of her module, along with a few suggestions for improving performance. Mr. Tanaka, her supervisor, nodded in approval. "Good work, Lena. Keep it up," he said, his voice deep and steady. She smiled, relief softening the edges of her focus as she left the meeting. Back at her desk, Lena reopened the source code and resumed her work. But as she scrolled through familiar functions, something caught her eye. A line of code that didn't belong. Her brow furrowed as she pulled the snippet into a separate window. It looked like a back door, an undocumented access point that could allow remote entry into the system. But what was it doing here, buried inside a module she was supposed to oversee? Her heart was pounding. Without hesitation, Lena dug deeper, tracing the related functions. After a few tense minutes, she discovered the rogue snippet was linked to another module, one she didn't officially have access to. She paused. Digging beyond her clearance level was a serious offense. But something, instinct, curiosity, maybe both, urged her forward. Using her basic credentials and a few programming tricks she had picked up over the years, Lena managed to slip past the security layers and peek into the restricted code. What she found chilled her to the core. The hidden module was part of a behavioral surveillance system, one that could alter neural impulses through the implants worn by every citizen. Her fingers trembled above the keyboard. This wasn't just monitoring, it was control. Everything she had believed about Omniscient, that it was designed to protect, to optimize life, began to unravel. The system wasn't just watching, it was manipulating. She took a deep breath, forcing herself to stay calm. There was more she needed to know, but one thing was clear. She couldn't do this alone. The idea of reporting what she'd found briefly crossed her mind, but she dismissed it just as fast. If this was real, then who in the system could she trust? Just then, her wrist device vibrated. A message appeared on the translucent screen. If you want the truth, come to the cafe at 5th and 7th. 7 p.m. Tell no one. Lena flinched, eyes darting around the room. Who had sent this? How did they know she was investigating? It could be a trap, some loyalty test orchestrated by Omniscient. Or it could be a real lead, the only one she had. Her thoughts spun in circles. Fear, doubt, a flicker of hope. After a long, breathless moment, she clenched her fists and made her choice. I have to go, she whispered to herself. I can't live under this shadow. Whatever the risk, I need to know.